Phasmophobia is, at least according to what I can find online, the fear of ghosts. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Phasmo or phasma meaning ghosts, and phobia meaning the fear of. Because of this, it's a pretty fantastic title for a game that is all about hunting ghosts, and a game that a few years ago I proclaimed was a very, very scary video game. But a lot can change in nearly 3 years. I've changed and grown a lot as a person. My channel has exploded in popularity. Still humble though, I am tiny. And Phasmophobia has also changed quite a lot. Since I made my first video, new equipment has been added. Such things as the dots projector, which allows you to visualize the ghost on an array of dots. Cursed possessions were next, which expanded the normal Ouija board into 5 other items. There's the haunted mirror, which will show you the ghost room at the cost of a major chunk of your sanity. The music box that'll trigger a ghost event where the ghost is located. Tarot cards, which give you random events based on which card you pull, including a card that will start a hunt, instantly kill you, and then even a card that will bring you or a friend back to life. The voodoo doll triggers an interaction in the ghost room, making it very useful for finding the ghost room, and the summoning circle brings the ghost directly to you. Much later after this, we got the monkey paw, which is probably the coolest one. It grants 5 wishes, but as you know, monkey paws aren't to be played with, so basically all of them have a tremendous downside. For instance, wishing for evidence basically blinds you, deafens you, and sends the ghost into a cursed hunt. They've also added plenty of new maps. There's 13 Willow Street, and it's easily one of my favorites now. We got a reworked asylum named Sunny Meadows, and there's an entire campsite named Camp Woodwind. We also got 2 new difficulties, Nightmare and Insanity, and the ability to create your own custom difficulty. I prefer a slightly harder version of Professional. It's got a great payout multiplier, and it's just generally really fun. And then there's the fact that every single item in the game was also reworked. We're now given 3 tiers, and they've completely reset the leveling system. So if you're coming back now after you haven't played in a couple months, you probably lost all your equipment and you're back to level 1, which can be a little frustrating, but the new progression system is really, really fun for me, so I don't really have too much of an issue with it. And ghosts have also been expanded from 12 to 24. Phasmophobia in 2023 is nowhere near the game it was in January 2021, and unfortunately that includes how scary I find it, which now is basically not at all. That's not to say the game can't be scary. I don't actually experiment with hunts very often, but when I get myself into one, it's often one of the scariest experiences you can have in the game. Well, I mean, I think I got everything else. I just gotta go back inside the house and... Holy fucking shit! I've started to get better at them though, which is pretty cool because at the end of the day, that's the thing about Phasmophobia for me. The less scary it becomes, the more fun it becomes. That's because the more you learn the game, the more it becomes like a logic puzzle, I guess. You see, every ghost in Phasmophobia is unique. There's a personality to them. A mimic is nothing like a Deogen, and a Deogen is definitely no shade. Figuring out these personalities has made the game a ton of fun, and it allows for some people to do what's called no evidence, a game mode where, like it says, you have no evidence. And while I'm not a psychopath, so I don't really play no evidence, I have seen several reviews comparing Phasmophobia to other scary games of its kind, and I never seem to click with those. Part of that is because I just love the simple nature of the evidence mechanic. It's not boring for me to go in and grab bonuses based on knowing which evidence ghosts give, because that's really fun for me. For instance, say you shine a glow stick on a door and see a 6-finger fingerprint. I just leave and go home because I found an obake. And if you saw cold breath during a hunt, it's definitely a Hantu. These little things make the game so much more fun. I think it's very similar to how speedrunning works. In fact, there's a huge speedrunning community just for Phasmophobia, and while I'm not good enough at the game to actually indulge in that, I do start to get some of the appeal of that. So while I'm not fast enough to truly speedrun Phasmophobia, at a certain point I can complete runs in about under 10 minutes. While I may not do them a lot, I did mention that hunts are very vital to the game and I'm getting better at them. They're still very scary, and most of the time I like to get in and get out with all of the evidence. However, the faster you are getting the evidence, the more likely you are to want to go the extra mile and do the optional objectives, and 9 times out of 10 one of those is a ghost photo, or cleanse the ghost when it's chasing someone, or, you know, escape the ghost during a hunt. You're gonna have to start doing some hunts. And then there's a possibility that you might just get really tired of a particular ghost that will not give you the evidence you want. For example, sometimes the dots projector and the ghost orbs are very hard for me to get evidence with, or maybe the ghost just will not write in the book. However, do not try and test between a Thay and a Deogen, because the Deogen's ability to know where you are at all times on the map makes hiding very hard, and the extreme speeds of an early game Thay make looping it just something that I cannot do. I have died several times because the last thing I need is either ghost orbs or ghost writing, and just neither of them are giving it, and so I decided to do a hunt test, and now I'm dead and I've lost all my equipment. However, let's say you're stuck between a poltergeist and a spirit. What can you do? Well, this is where the hunt comes into play, and this is an instance that I use them quite a bit. For a poltergeist test, just stack a ton of stuff on top of the kitchen table in either Tanglewood or Willow Street, approach the loop spot with a smudge stick or 2, and wait for the ghost to hunt. A poltergeist will throw all of the items on the table at an alarming speed, but sometimes I found this ability to be a little wobbly. Take the time and smudge to run away. If you're not sure it's a poltergeist, wait 3 minutes. If it doesn't hunt before the time is up, then you've probably got a spirit. spirit. And the cool thing is you can test for several ghosts this way. The logic puzzle of Phasmophobia is what keeps me coming back, allowing me to figure out things just with this knowledge that I've accumulated, and it's one of the most rewarding experiences I've had in gaming. So what exactly is looping? Well, looping a ghost is the process of using the ghost's line of sight abilities against it. Some ghosts are harder to loop them for others for this very reason, but most of them can be easily looped by simply following them around a surface such as a couch or a kitchen island. Always have a smudge in hand though, as these interactions can very easily go south if you're not prepared. Generally, best practice is to remain crouched, have the lights turned on to make sure you're always ready to light a smudge and run off, because most ghosts will get faster as the hunt goes on. Ghosts such as a Thay or a Moroi on 0% sanity are very hard for me to loop. I know that you probably can, but I tend to run away with those. Meanwhile, a Deogen will literally slow to a crawl once you get it. Fun fact, in over 60 hours of playtime, I never once had a Deogen until recording for this video, in which case I've gotten quite a few, and they're some of my favorite ghosts just to play around with because of how slow they get and how fun it is to loop them around during a cursed hunt. It is an honor, sir. Other ghosts that hunts are useful to identify is the Moroi. Are you really low on sanity? The Moroi is going to be extremely fast. Is it snowing outside and the breakers turned off? The Hantu is going to get your ass. Did you notice that one time the ghost was very fast and the other time the ghost was very slow? It's most likely the twins or your game is bugged. I've had both happen to me. And if a ghost gets slower over time throughout the game, then it's most likely a Thay. We're moving past hunts, we're moving past looping. What else is there to find the ghost that makes the logic puzzle so much fun to where you might want to play without, a third evidence? Well, for me, I like to use the cursed possessions. One of my favorite cursed possessions to use to find the ghost is the monkey paw, because sure, once you wish for something, you're kind of screwed and a cursed hunt's gonna start. Like eliminating evidence, you're gonna be blinded and you can't hear anything, and it's just pretty risky, but if you can get out of it, it's a pretty good reward. You can also wish the ghost was trapped, and that's an easy way to find the ghost room. Certain ghosts also have hunting thresholds. For instance, a demon can hunt immediately as soon as you enter the match, but generally will start hunting around 75% sanity. The same can be said for a Thay. A Shade will start hunting at 35% sanity, Reiju in the presence of electronic equipment will hunt at 65, and Unreal will hunt at 60. Most other ghosts will hunt around 50 or 55. That's typically when you want to make sure that you're either out of the house, have sanity medication, or you start bringing a smudge stick into the match. I will say the thing that does make Phasmophobia a game that's easy to learn but hard to master is the fact that 90% of what I've told you about today is not something that the game tells you. A lot of it isn't even something you'll pick up on your own. I've gathered so much of this information from my own playing, yes, but it's impossible to ignore the importance of outside sources such as the Phasmophobia wiki, or of course the streamer InSim. InSim has done a ton for me when it comes to learning the game. Besides the fact that I think he's a great streamer, I like him enough to even watch him play Shadows of Doubt and other horror games for hours. He's integral to me learning the game.
We're gonna have to do it again. I know I said I wasn't, but the chance of me dying is so incredibly small that it doesn't even matter.
Alongside his normal challenge videos like Trapped in the Ghost Room or his numerous randomizers, he also makes guides that are extremely easy to follow, as all they boil down to is him just playing the game and explaining everything. Seriously, if you want to learn Phasmophobia, you need to check him out. He is really great, and he's just one of my favorite content creators. But it is a shame that you need to learn so much from outside sources. There's also some other issues with the game that I'd like to address before moving on, because I do really love this game, but there's definitely things that need to be improved upon. This game has a serious issue when it comes to solo players. Look, I get the game as co-op, but who actually has 3 friends that are all available at the same time to play this game? I mean, I have 3 friends that own this game, but none of them liked me enough to play it with me for this video, except for Zach, and bless his heart for that too. Yeah, just go ahead and place the motion sensor right there.
Right there?
Yep.
Bet. What should I do with this microphone thing?
You just place it down.
Got you. No, wait. I didn't want to look at the mirror. No,
Zach, no.
Jay, please.
Oh,
Jay, help.
Zach,
It's fucking chasing me.
I can't
Bro.
do anything. Without more people playing, half the maps are basically useless. You're more or less confined to the 4 houses and 2 farmhouses if you want a game that won't take forever and devolve into chain hunts. High School is a pretty bad map in general, but by yourself it's even worse. Prison is boring and repetitive, and Sunny Meadows and Maple Lodge Campsite are just too big for me to enjoy alone. And that's a real shame, because Sunny Meadows alone is one of the best maps I played in any game. The level of detail here is astounding and really oppressive. They even hide all the monkey paw wishes here so you can find them and add them to your journal. It just sucks that you can't reasonably do that on a normal difficulty without the risk of dying 50 times over and having to restart. I had to go into the custom difficulty settings and turn off ghost hunts to be able to appreciate this wonderful map, and I really do appreciate it now. It's not that the street houses are bad. I love Tanglewood, and Willow is fantastic as well, but when they're all you play, it can get a little boring. Both of the farmhouses also suffer from having some terrible hiding spots for hunts, and there are several rooms that just suck to have as ghost rooms. I just don't really have the desire to play these larger multi-floor small maps alone, because again, they can just take too long. So I end up playing only Tanglewood and Willow, which means I'm a complete god at those maps, but at the cost of any other map seeming foreign to me at nearly 70 hours of gameplay. So if Phasmophobia isn't scary anymore and it's not newcomer friendly, then what should I play? Well, you do have some options. I picked up Demonologist for a few hours and it was pretty boring. While the game looked better because it's done in Unreal, it was almost lacking in any style, and I don't think Phasmophobia necessarily has a style either, but Demonologist was pretty boring even compared to Phasmophobia. It reminds me of a lot of like Nintendo hire this man, Mario done in Unreal Engine 4K types things. And when it comes down to it, it wasn't scary. It was littered with jump scares and things that don't really get me on edge. There's no tension when I'm expecting to be scared by something popping out at me. The game also has an exorcism function that just complicates things. A similar problem plagues the game Ghost Exorcism Incorporated. This was a game I was excited to try out as it was the second of its kind to come out after Phasmophobia, and it boasted a ton of cool features like multiple ghosts. Unfortunately, besides the fact that it looks like a Roblox game, it's just too much. Adding an exorcism function to read the ghost of the area is not really something I'm interested in. Part of the reason Phasmophobia is such a well-oiled machine is because the game has one focused, identifying the ghost. It's based entirely around that, and all the tools are purely to identify the ghost and then you get out. It's what allows people to understand it as well as they do, and it allows the game to stay balanced and focused as the developers don't have to come up with a way to expand the game, just improve upon what's already there. And then there's also the fact that there's just this weird Ghostbusters weapon in the game that why is this here? Why are we scanning to get a code for the ghost like we're plugging into a car to do a missions test? It blows my mind. I did also decide to branch out into a game called Conrad Stevenson's Paranormal PI though, and I have to say this one is a real treat. I definitely recommend checking this one out. It takes a huge step back from the likes of Phasmophobia and Demonologist and is instead a game focused entirely on the investigation of ghosts, not the threat of them. You can't die in this game, it's very slow paced, and instead of identifying types of ghosts, it's all about learning about the individual people hunting the resident. I haven't played much of this one, but I love what I have played, and it's almost exciting how slow the game is. Needing to return to your office to actually listen to EVPs is a fantastic idea, and it really makes for an immersive experience. It also manages to be creepy in its own right, as there are moments that only work when the danger of dying is taken away. The game also manages to implement an exorcism feature pretty well. The more you learn about each ghost and their history, the easier it is to find an item that you can then use to cleanse the house of this ghost, sending it free into the afterlife. It's almost beautiful when it happens. And on top of that, there are a select few demons to spice up the gameplay and full-on demonic exorcisms that are as action-packed as the game needs them to be. At the end here, I was going to talk about Forewarned or maybe Ghost Exile here, but you know, college student got to college. So instead we're going to be talking about Spectre, also known as Roblox Phasmophobia, baby. Let's go! It's Roblox time! At the end of the day, what else can I say? It's just Phasmophobia, but it's in Roblox. It's nothing special. It probably did scare me more than Phasmophobia has in the past 40 hours of gameplay though, so do with that information what you will.
I'm gonna loop it. 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 I'm gonna. Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit! Oh shit!
So there you have it. Phasmophobia isn't a game that scares me anymore, but that's honestly not an issue. And none of the so-called scarier games are nearly as well crafted and fun to play for me as Phasmophobia is. Don't get me wrong, the developers have a ton of things to fix. The lighting system in the game is absolutely broken. I didn't talk about that because that's a hot button issue that gets people banned off the Discord, so not trying to really dive into that right now. The developers are doing a great job though when it comes down to everything that they need to fix. It's a small team, and I hope that one day they'll get the game where it needs to be, to where it can be released on consoles like they said they want to. At the end of the day, this is the only game of its kind that has captivated me and kept me playing. I've been playing it consistently since my first video on it, and I can't say that I'll stop anytime soon. I did decide that to truly measure the scariness of the game, I gotta play it in VR.
Siri, set directions to Denver's house. We're going to visit Carrie Night Gaming.
Alright, gamers too. Oh, I found the bone. Hold on. Let me go. EMF 5? Oh shit. Okay. EMF. Flashlight. The EMF right there. And then I'm going to grab. Cool, you can carry like 4 items in this game. I'm enjoying it actually, surprisingly. Like,
You're handling full locomotion pretty well, because in most games you actually have to turn full locomotion. This is because my computer is bad.
I was just gonna say Phasmophobia in general don't really look. Did you turn off the breaker? Oh god, okay. I wish to see the ghost.
Go into your
Oh, there we go.
stuff. So like you might need to go to the settings to see if the there's settings like under.
It's not a thing? Or a Diogen? Are you okay? It's a yoga.
Welcome back.
Is it a spirit?